All right, viewers, that's all we have for now, but more developments are coming in. We're now learning that as Israel is intensifying its operations in Gaza, family members of Israeli hostages in Israel itself are calling for the return of those remaining in captivity. The families are protesting for a ceasefire. The IDF military a day earlier had called up 60,000 reservists in a sign that the government was pressing ahead with the plan to seize Gaza City despite international condemnation. Although one military official stated that most reservists would not serve in combat and that the strategy to take Gaza City had not yet been finalized, the Israeli government has restated that all of the remaining 50 hostages held by militants in Gaza must be released at once. Israeli officials believe that around 20 of them are still alive. Let's in fact listen in to what a family member of one of the hostages has had to say.
There's a deal on the table. This is the opening we need for a comprehensive deal. We must sign it immediately. We welcome every hostage who returns and every family reunites with their loved ones. Time is running out. The hostages cannot survive much longer in the hand of these brutal captors. We cannot support more fighting.
All right, viewers, you've heard what exactly one of the family members of the hostage has had to say. Meanwhile, human rights groups are warning that a humanitarian crisis could worsen Gaza, where most residents have been displaced multiple times and neighborhoods lie in ruins. The starvation deaths, in fact, continue to rise amid the threat of wide-scale famine. Meanwhile, an Israeli military official has informed that a new phase of combat would involve a gradual, precise and targeted operation in and around Gaza City, including some areas where forces had not previously operated. The military has already begun operating in the neighborhoods of Zaytun and Jabalia as part of the initial stages. Residents are bracing for the worst as Israel pursues its plan to seize Gaza's largest city. This operation could, of course, as experts warn, displace hundreds of thousands of people to concentration zones in the south of Gaza. Meanwhile, Ali Ushbak is back with us on the broadcast. He's joining us from Cairo. Thank you so much for your patience as we got that connection sorted out. I was, of course, asking you of the fears that the people on the ground have currently. They are worried about where exactly will they get the next meal from, even as bombardment continues and now Israeli troops are on the ground as well. Do you think even in such a delicate scenario, ceasefire can be reached? Is there any hope for that? Or do you think there can be some US pressure to get that done? Or with Putin being focused on Russia and Ukraine, do you think Netanyahu has more of a free hand given by the US president and therefore the chances are bleak?
Thank you, Pia, for having me. In fact, the situation on the ground, it's a terrible. Yesterday night, it was tough for the Palestinian who's staying in the Gaza city, while the Israeli artillery bombed a northern part of the Gaza city from Jabalia and from the Jabalia campus, as well as at Daraj and Hay at-Tufah neighborhood in the southeast of Gaza City, while Israel is talking on the media about the second phase of Gideon's chariot has been started, as well as today, according to Palestinian media, local media, around 91 Palestinian civilians have been killed, among of them 30 civilians who's seeking for food have been killed as well as. So on the ground situation is difficult. As you mentioned, also Israel's focus on the central of Gaza Strip from in Deir al-Balah as well as al-Nusayrat and also Al-Braj neighborhood. Israel's bombardment, it's still continuous on the ground. Civilians they lost their homes hope for the ceasefire, despite Hamas agreed that the ceasefire that put it, the proposal that put by the mediator Egypt and Qatar, and they are up to now, even Palestinian as well as Israeli, they are waiting for the response of Benjamin Netanyahu. He's trying to buy the time by delaying in his response about the ceasefire. But I guess the backstabbing of this proposal, it was clear yesterday when Benjamin Netanyahu, he was called for more than 60,000 Israeli reservists to participate in the war in Gaza, to continue that second phase of Gideon's chariot operation in Gaza. Yesterday, we have seen a strong and bloody resistance from the Palestinian militant. It's worth mentioning that about Khan Yunis ambush, with Israel consider it as a fail for its troop on the ground and around, at least according to media, Israeli media, more than 10 Israeli have been killed during this ambush. So it's a situation on the ground. It's a bit difficult to understand what is happening, but it's clear Benjamin Netanyahu is not going to accept the new proposal and that put it by Egypt and Qatar. It's also clear for the Israeli community as well, despite they are pressurizing Benjamin Netanyahu and the opposition of Benjamin Netanyahu. Lapid, he released a statement that he's going to cover and going to collapse if he's going through this deal and to release the Witkoff. It's, as I mentioned yesterday, it's aligned with the Witkoff proposal. Also, Hamas, it's clear with this, and not for Palestinian, is for human and the human rights challenge for them to survive. Among of these crises for displacement, that the famine is still in Gaza. Israel, according to the Secretary General of United Nations,